What's going on, Celtics fans? Welcome into Celtics Today by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, filling in for Allie on today's show. I'll also be joined by my man Smitty here in a little bit. But coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about Kristaps Porzingis and how he's really started to elevate the Boston Celtics team, not just defensively, but also offensively. We'll be diving into that. And then also Jason Tatum. Listen, if the Celtics want to reach their max potential as an overall team, he needs to shoot the ball more. We'll dive into that. And then also they got the Brooklyn Nets coming up. So a little quick game preview at the later half of today's show. But I want to start it off talking about Kristaps Porzingis because in terms of a player, if you had to kind of sculpt a kind of modern day five in the NBA, it would probably be Kristaps, a guy who's 7'3", can be a great pick and pop threat and also an elite rim protector. And it's clear through six games, Kristaps has completely changed the dynamic for the Celtics. And listen, the numbers don't lie with Kristaps also. I mean, averaging just under 21 a game, 7 rebounds a night, like 54.7% from the deck, and then 41.2% from downtown. Think about that. This dude is 7'3", and he's shooting higher than 40% from deep. I mean, Smitty, talk about efficiency. That's the number one thing that stands out there. Being a 7'3" sniper in that pick and pop game, it's just awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis can score from all three levels. We'll talk about how he's a threat from not only the mid-range, the down low, and the three-point line in a little bit. But, I mean, for a guy who's 7'3", can move laterally the way he does and, defend at a high level, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better big in today's NBA.
And also, if you're just running like that pick and pop game, not only just that threat of having him being just an elite three-point shooter, it opens it up for the guards because then that big or however the other team's guarding it, they see Kristaps out there, they're like, all right, we have to respect that because he's knocking that down at a high arc. And then he can just really, or the guard can just really get downhill and it creates a whole lot more. And man, Kristaps last night versus the 76ers, he was special, Smitty. I mean, he was great. 29 points. I mean, 10 of 19 overall, 7 of 8 from the three-point line. Honestly, him dropping 29 points, only hitting 2 threes, I think is also very impressive for him. But, I mean, he was great last night. I mean, I just love what he can bring to a basketball team just on both sides of the floor. Like, he is truly the prototypical modern-day big.
Yeah, I mean, in his ability to get to the free throw line, he was 7 of 8 from the line last night, and he's had multiple games of 8+ free throws so far this season. His ability to be able to attack off the dribble, catch and shoot, run off screens, pick and pop, it does not matter. He's a threat from anywhere, and the fact that he's able to get to the line at a consistent clip means he's going to be very valuable for the Celtics offense moving forward.
100%. And they also got that guy running backdoor cuts like that 7'3" monster. He can get the ball, quickly go up with it. I mean, I love him. And that kind of gets to this other point that we wanted to make, man. I mean, he's a 3-level scorer. At 7'3", if you can be a 3-level scorer, I mean, you are just going to impact the game in so many different ways. And he just, again, maybe the assist numbers may not be up for him, but he's opening it up for other players just because of how big of a threat he is from all 3 levels.
Absolutely. He's an underrated passer of the basketball as well. He can facilitate an offense. He can see over the entire defense. So it's one of the skills that he has. It doesn't exactly jump out to you, but he's a perfect player to help move the ball around the floor and find the best shot possible for Boston.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, personally, like me playing basketball, if that was my center, a guy who we obviously know, great rim protector too, but you can also just have him run that pick and pop game. I mean, I would love to be a guard playing next to Kristaps. I mean,
look how easy he makes it.
I mean, listen, before we got on, just want to be fully transparent with you guys. I told Smitty, I'm like, no way these numbers are true right now. I thought they were fake. Like, I really did think they were fake, but I mean, 68.7% true shooting this season. Absolutely ridiculous, Smitty.
Unbelievable. And he's shooting jump shots at a 50% clip. I mean, that's Steph Curry numbers we're seeing right now from Kristaps Porzingis. At the rim, he's hella efficient, and he's taking a fifth of the team's three-point attempts, which is exactly where I'd probably like to have that number at. Obviously, you're going to get some from the bench or whatnot, but do you want Tatum probably taking a quarter of the total team threes? Brown mixed in there. Holiday also likes to chuck them up as well. Derek White is a pick-and-choose kind of three-point shooter. Kristaps, though, I do want to see him second, it may be tied for third, in that situation as far as how many shots he's getting up from the outside because he hits it at such a high clip. Why would you not draw up more looks for Kristaps from deep?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and just like the overall Celtics team, like you have so many good three-point shooters on this unit, and the fact that your starting 5 can hit that at that level, I mean, the Celtics offense, I mean, we've seen it this year. They've already been off to a hot start, and listen, with how efficiently Porzingis has played on offense, you have to draw up more looks for him and get him more shots. And listen, they did last night against the 76ers. I mean, you watch that game. I mean, he looked good.
He looked great. He was efficient, but unfortunately, it's going to happen in the NBA. Shots just didn't fall at the end of the game, and you can't put that game on Kristaps. He played extremely well for 3 quarters, just happened to miss the last shot that was needed. The Jays didn't show up. The guards didn't show up offensively. Drew Holiday had a good game on defense. Derek White just came back from the birth of his child, so he gets a pass there. Al Horford was terrible. Kristaps was the only man in the middle down low yesterday who was given a good effort for the Celtics against Philly. So unfortunately didn't make the shot, but I want to see more of that moving forward. If he's the hot hand, ride it and give him the late shot.
I mean, it's crazy. He was 2 of 6 from downtown yesterday, and I'm like, it's probably an off night for Kristaps. Again, the dude's 7'3", and I'm saying him going 2 for 6 from downtown is an off night for him from a shooting standpoint.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, he's completely changed this team, Smitty. I mean, we kind of talked about it when the Celtics did trade for him. Like, we were like, not only like you think about the rim protection with Kristaps immediately, but like just what he's brought to this team, like, and also
we're gonna get into the defensive end in just a minute.
Yeah, and we'll get in there too. But like postseason basketball, Kristaps' game, it's going to translate easily, I think.
Absolutely. And there's going to be a Kristaps game in the postseason.
Oh, my God.
There's going to be a 35 bomb in there.
A 7 3-point game, 100%.
Yeah, 7 triples. He's going to get him up. But, hey, do you guys think Kristaps should get more shots than this or less shots? Let us know.
Yeah, 17.5 shot attempts per game. Type M for more or L for less down in the comment section. I mean, again, a lot of with like how stacked the Celtics team is, it's a lot of going to have to come down to the overall how the game's going. But if he's got the hot hand and he's shooting less than 17.5 shots per game, I think that's a mistake. But also, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed to our channel. If you guys want good breakdown like this, Smitty's doing a great job. Show him some love. He's behind the scenes on all of this. All these graphics, everything made on the show, that's all my man Smitty. So make sure you guys go down there, hit that sub button, show us some love here, and hey, it's just extra motivation for us. More subs equals more videos, so go down there and subscribe. But this is the part I'm excited to dive in here, Smitty. The defensive end for Porzingis, man. One of the best rim protectors in the league. He can switch on the guards pretty easily.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about that. Kristaps is not exactly he's better defensively than what I thought we were getting when we traded for Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, I thought he'd be a liability in the pick and roll game is what I thought, and He would kind of just be that rim protector role, kind of help defense blocks in a sense. But no, he is absolutely taking on the challenge of guarding smaller players and players on the perimeter, and he's doing it very well.
Yeah, I mean, you just think about this from a guard's perspective. Like if you see Kristaps on you, I mean, just naturally, like his 7'3" frame is going to like just throw off your offensive game a little bit. But if he's actually able to move his feet a little bit, I mean, he is just a deadly weapon for Mazzulla. There's kind of put him wherever. And, like, you think about the playoffs. Like, if you have a guy like this, you can kind of give him specific kind of matchups in the postseason.
Absolutely.
And he'll be able to execute it. Like, that's why also Celtics are going to be a dangerous postseason.
And Mazzulla has taken notice of Porzingis' ability to switch on to smaller guards and perimeter players. Jay King spoke to him recently from The Athletic. Here's what he said, Steve.
Yeah, so this is what Jay King had to say. He said, though the 7'3" center's defensive impact will often come from the way he protects the rim, Mazzulla has stressed that Porzingis is more than just a paint-bound tree. After the first practice of the season, Mazzulla made it clear the team would not use Porzingis simply as a one-dimensional player. He said, as well as Porzingis' block shots, Mazzulla said that the Celtics would also use his flexibility, key word right there, flexibility, on that end of the court. Mazzulla even pointed to the statistics from previous years that show Porzingis actually fared well in switches. Think that's just great self-awareness, just knowing your basketball team right there from Mazzulla. And Smitty, I mean, you can take this one away. This is incredible.
Mazzulla's putting Porzingis in spots where he knows he can succeed, and Brad Stevens is well aware of that as well up in the front office. In addition to Porzingis' 1.6 blocks a game, he's ranked tied for third. 2 days ago, he was in first in contested shots per game at 13.0. I mean, the guy's getting out there and affecting shots from distance and affecting shots at the rim. So what more could you ask for from a 7'3" defender?
And that's just also like him being active. Like I feel like a lot of these bigs in the NBA, like, they can kind of be trees. They can kind of be statues and kind of just kind of, go through the motions a little bit. But if you're contesting nearly 13 shots a game, I mean, dude, you are active. Like, and Smitty, I'm glad you pulled this up right now, man.
How do you score on him, man?
Dude, like really think about it. You got two great point of attack defenders.
Correct.
Derek White, Drew Holiday. Two great wing defenders in Brown and Tatum. And then you got that 7'3" monster.
Yep.
And I don't even think we've seen the best of it because when the game slows down in the playoffs and you let these guys get a little more physical with them, like that's where I really think we're going to see the Celtics team. I mean, I know games aren't played in the 80s anymore. Would you be shocked
if the Celtics held a couple teams to under 90 in the playoffs?
Oh,
absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. And the C's, the best thing about that lineup you just mentioned right there is they all could switch. We saw Drew Holiday D'ing up Joel Embiid last night.
That was wild.
And he was poking the ball away. He was doing a good job. So the fact that lineup can switch 1 through 5 is unbelievable. I'm very excited to see the full potential of this defensive unit for Boston. But hey, KP's becoming an elite two-way player. Am I right?
Definitely. And he's joining 4 other elite two-way players on this team. That's why this Celtics team, like, it is such a well-constructed roster, like Drew Holiday two-way, Derek White two-way, Brown and Tatum. Obviously, we know they, take pride being two-way players as well. But, I mean, man, Kristaps, he's I'm happy for him because he was kind of ragged on, a little bit in the earlier stages of his career. But it seems like the true basketball knowers and the true, like, kind of, like the J.J. Redicks, like, of the media world, like, they are really taking appreciation for what he has done. And also, the MVP leaderboard right now.
I guess so.
He's number 6. He's number 6.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Yeah, but this is where it's at. A little early season MVP leaderboard. I mean, obviously you got guys like Tyrese Maxey on here as well, but still got Jokic, Tatum right there. I mean, if the Celtics win 65 games, whatever it may be, and Tatum's average is 30+, he'll probably get this award. But then you got Luka and Embiid, and then, hey, man, Porzingis, number 6 right there, and I love it. And if you guys want to show him some love, get the KP hype going in the chat. If you think Kristaps can make an all-NBA team this year, I'll tell you what, I think he's got a really good chance right now. Give me some KPs down in the comments section. Show him some love. He's completely embraced this Boston culture. You guys should embrace him as well down in the comment section. But coming up next, Jason Tatum. He needs to shoot the basketball more. I think if the Celtics want to be the best team they can, it's got to be on the back of JT. So we'll dive into that here in a second. But I do want to give a big-time shout-out to Prize Picks, the sponsor of today's edition of Celtics Today. And you guys may be asking, what is Prize Picks, guys? Well, it's daily fantasy, and it's made very, very easy. And how do you play? All you got to do, you pick 2 or more players, and then they're going to give you some projected stat types, and all you got to do is choose more or less on those projected stat types. You guys can start rolling in the cash today. Listen, there's a Thursday night football game tonight. It's the Panthers, and it's the Bears. This game is going to be boring. You guys know how to make it not boring? Make a lineup on Prize Picks. And tonight I'm rolling with less than 217.5 passing yards for Bryce Young. Also taking another less on Tyson Bagent, less than 185.5 yards. But then Foreman, the running back for the Bears, little revenge game. I'm going to take more on his projected stat line of 62.5 rushing yards. But guys, that's my lineup tonight. You guys can, either fade my picks. You guys can ride with me, but make sure you guys do it at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for first deposit match up to $100. All right, Smitty, let's break it down, man. Tatum just needs to shoot more.
It's a fact. I mean, last night against the 76ers, he had the 3rd most field goal attempts on the team. And listen, that just can't happen. Jason Tatum, you are the alpha here in Boston. There's no reason that you should be having anywhere near the 3rd most attempts in any given game. You should be leading the team in field goal attempts every single time out.
And there just needs to be, we talk about hierarchy and everything, and that's been a big talk, in Celtics, media. It's like that Tatum Brown, like Tatum needs to be that true one. And I get it may be a little hard because the Celtics are a very stacked team. So like Tatum may get lost in the offense, but especially in those last 5 minutes, the ball's got to be in his hands for a majority of it.
And Keith Smith said it really well. I mean, he said, no matter how many mouths need to be fed on the Celtics, and there is a lot.
Yes.
Jason Tatum should not have the 3rd most field goal attempts on the team. That's an offensive failure. And it was. I mean, he wasn't in any rhythm. He didn't have enough shots up, and the Celtics felt the consequences of that down the stretch.
Yeah, 100%. I actually listen, Tatum, I would love to see him more work out of kind of that wing post area where we've seen guys like LeBron, and we've seen obviously KD's kind of adapted a little bit, like Kobe and MJ obviously made it famous. Because I also think Tatum, he can be an underrated playmaker. If you just let him cook out of that kind of wing post area, just could be a consistent move that, the Celtics could spam in the playoffs and at the end of games. But, I mean, dude, he's off to a killer start right now. I mean, I didn't know he was shooting 41% from downtown this season. But, I mean, these are MVP numbers. I mean, 9.7 rebounds a game. I'd love to see it. I mean, Tatum, his archetype, and just his overall physical build, he should be a top rebounder at the wing spot. I mean, shooting 54% from the field as well. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And
let's not kid ourselves. You're the go-to guy.
He has to be.
You're the best player on the team. We're not going to kid ourselves here. Let's call a spade a spade. He's the MVP contender on the team. I know Kristaps was 6th, but Jason Tatum is the MVP contender. He's 100%. The scorer. He is the guy who you want to host the Finals MVP trophy when it's all said and done. And if he's not, then the Celtics probably won't be holding up an NBA Finals trophy.
Great point. And, like, in terms of the gap, I think, between Tatum and the second best player, because I think there is a debate. Who's the second best player, Brown or Porzingis?
At this point, especially. I mean, Brown was definitively the last couple seasons he's been better than Porzingis. Yeah. But now, through 6 games this year, it looks like Porzingis has been better.
You could definitely make that argument, but like there is still a seismic gap, I believe, from Tatum being top dog to whoever you want to have at 2 or 3 or 4. Like, I mean, Smitty, I think you nailed it on the head. Like, he is the go-to guy. Act like it. End of games, be the go-to guy. Like, listen, I love what Jason Tatum's done this season. Like, he's been absolutely fantastic. And, like, the whole thing with Tatum, like, at these end-of-game situations, like, if you do have him being that guy where he can just, get him the ball, and whether it's not him, shooting the ball, like, he can create, force a double team. Like, that's where you go from a star to a superstar, in my opinion, in the NBA. Whereas, like, he can just consistently generate double teams on himself. And then the Celtics have such a good roster around him with great shooters, like we've been saying, where, he can get those guys open looks. Like, Tatum, I think the next step for him is just to be able to be like, I'm the alpha. This is my team. I am the Boston Celtics. And then there's a hierarchy around him because also, guys, if we look at the past couple NBA champions, you got top 25 players of all time. If the Celtics want to win a ship this year, I honestly think Tatum might need to take that leap. And if he wins an MVP and a Finals MVP, we'll be talking about Tatum as one of the best players of all time. But, Smitty, we got in-season basketball coming up here.
Absolutely.
I'm fired up. I've actually enjoyed this a little bit. I don't know how you felt.
I don't mind it. What I don't like exactly, and maybe I'm in the wrong here and they're in the minority, is that it's so spaced out. Like you play an in-season tournament game, then you play 3 regular season games, then you go back to the in-season tournament. I think it should be a little bit more condensed, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
First time out, too. They're trying a bunch of things. I'm excited to see how the Celtics court looks on television Friday night. So it should be interesting. I'm excited. A little rematch with the Nets, who just played them a couple games back. Won that time out, 124 to 114. Yep. So not unfamiliar with this Nets squad.
Definitely.
But they did experience a little bit of the injury bug. Cam Thomas, last night against the Miami Heat, did sprain his ankle, so he will definitely be out for this game, and he'll probably be out the next couple weeks for Brooklyn. Yeah,
I mean, that's a big loss for the Nets. Cam Thomas had a great start to his NBA season, but they still got guys like Bridges, Cam Johnson, really good 3-and-D wings as well. So even though, Tatum and Brown, obviously better than those two, they'll have their hands full. But, I mean, Derek White and Drew Holiday, I expect them to have their fingerprints all over this ball game. They got to get after the Nets guards, and, I think they will. But overall, one thing I will say about the in-season tournament, it does add a little extra juice. I think the players, even though they may not say it, I think they're just playing a little extra harder, just a little bit,
I agree.
Which obviously I like.
I agree. What do you guys think the score will be? Listen, 1-10 last time out. Okay. Predict the in-season tournament score for the Celtics and the Nets. Closest person to get the score right will get a shout-out on the first video next week. So put your score predictions down in the comments. We want to see them, and if you get close, hey, you'll be featured on the show heading into next week.
Let's go. Yeah, get those score predictions down below. Listen, Celtics coming off a loss. No Cam Thomas, most likely for the Nets. I got the Celtics by 20+.
I hope so.
I hope, man. I hope. But make sure you guys are subscribed. We would really appreciate it. We're doing a lot of good work here on Celtics Today. So if you guys could hook it up, hit us with that subscribe button, or just go down there, hit that subscribe button. We'd appreciate it. But thank you guys so much for watching today's edition of Celtics Today. As always, go Celtics.